In a world where the marks think they know better than the wrestlers and the bookers, the Fantasy Booking Institute exists to pretty much do exactly that. This is a visit from the FBI.
This is Dan the Dad, and you should. This is Dan the Dad, and you should listen to Raw and Order, or you're grounded.
Welcome to another episode of Raw and Order, the Fantasy Booking Unit, or Wrestling Game Night, as I've been calling it recently. I am your host, Detective Mark Sparks, and I'm joined, as always, by my partner in crime fighting, District Attorney Vincent K. What's going on, man? How are you?
Don't act like you don't know something about this being a Thursday night instead of a Tuesday night.
Hey, it's a day that starts in a T and ends in a Y. I think we got it close enough, right?
Ooh, we got two of them. Holy cow. Two of those features.
Exactly. I think that's doing pretty darn good.
So I do want to ask one quick question. Why is 4-on-1 not acceptable, but 7-on-1 was until somebody else other than CM Punk and his buddies came out?
You know, I don't know.
Did you notice that last night?
Math is hard.
Concurrent events?
Yeah, but I don't know. The whole thing last night with CM Punk, it was kind of weird because, obviously, CM Punk made a reference to him being a Collision person. Exclusive. He's not even supposed to be here, which does imply that some sort of brand split is taking place, even though they haven't, as of yet, announced a solid brand split.
Well, I think that's partially for Forbidden Door, so they can have some of those crossover events.
Possibly. I think there's just a lot that's fluid. I think they're not certain yet exactly how they're going to do it.
I also think that the brand split thing seems a little more Miro and Andrade than it does CM Punk.
Well, so rumors have it that CM Punk was the main reason for a brand split because the Elite didn't want to work with him, and therefore they're like, well, we'll put you on two separate shows and then we won't have to worry about it. Also, importantly, the Elite were not at Dynamite yesterday. They filmed something in advance, but they weren't there, which plays into, reportedly, why CM Punk was able to be there, or why they brought in CM Punk. You know, because the Elite aren't here. Okay, well, then bring CM Punk in.
Yeah, get us somebody who'll get a pop.
Mm-hmm.
Especially in, I don't know, Chicago.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing. It's fairly easy to bring CM Punk in when you're in Chicago. I mean, basically all you do is you go, hey, CM Punk, can you come?
Gross. Finish. There we go.
And he'll be like, sure, I'm there.
But they couldn't get Becky Lynch. Oh wait, no, she works for a different company.
Yeah, they could not.
I just thought it was funny that 4-on-1, that's not okay. 4-on-1, not okay. 4-on-4, that's a fight. You know? And then the very next segment, and it's not anybody CM Punk has beef with, it was Mark that was getting jacked by lots of people.
Yeah, but here's the deal. We've talked about it years ago on this podcast, how one of our biggest frustrations in professional wrestling is this belief that faces only come out to save people when it's a program that they're involved in, right? That the good guys are selective about when they rescue people.
Yes.
Uh,
Which makes them not good guys.
which makes them not good guys. Yeah. You know, that good guys, importantly, rescue everybody.
That's you do run the risk when, and I think I said this last time. You do run the risk of saying that 94, 95 WWE was good by saying that. Because if you remember, Diesel was coming out and saving everybody.
Mm-hmm.
That said, they drew a much stiffer line between good guys and bad guys back then as well.
Yeah.
I said stiff.
It's different line.
Now you're messing with her.
But anyways, and so yeah, it's just I don't know. We could talk about Dynamite. We could talk about stuff. Well, we could talk
It's
about.
almost like we have a
Forbidden
show like
Door,
that for Sunday.
but we do that all on our weekend show. And this is our game night, which was supposed to be Tuesday, like you mentioned, and then you were beat. And then we were gonna do it yesterday, and I was beat.
But tonight I have energy, and we're going a little early, and
yes,
that
we're
works
going a
for
little
both of
early,
us.
and so hopefully that helps us out. I think yesterday was just me. All of the events of the weekend and the going 4 days without having air conditioning in my house. So I've had crappy sleep for those 4 days and all of that stuff catching up to me when I finally have my air conditioning fixed and my house is now comfortable to sleep in. So I think that's what played into it last night. Is I was like, my body is like,
Man, I just want to sleep. Why can't you just let me sleep? God, that TikTok that you shared was hilarious. There's everything that is nerd, man. Like, and I'm not even a Trekkie. Like,
yeah.
that's so funny. I it does make you wonder why Data.
Well, I mean, the scene, of course, came from
Yes,
a
particular
big
episode
scene.
where
But why it wasn't in verse, I guess I don't know. Why, you know,
why, why is
why is Data Hulk and Wesley a Macho Man?
I don't even remember that episode. I should qualify. I'm not a Trekkie. My father was, so I have seen lots of, in particular, that episode, that show, New Next Generation.
Yeah, it's got babyface Riker.
Very young Riker. Or are you talking about him not being a bad guy?
I'm more talking about the fact that he's beardless.
It looks like he was taken over by somebody in that episode. Like they came across an entity that gave him the ability to grant wishes.
Yeah, it was Q.
Oh, okay. I told you I hadn't seen that episode.
Sorry, I'm trying to multitask and
Failing.
failing miserably. Anyways, wrestling game night.
Yeah,
That's what we're here for.
or Star Trek, whatever.
Or Star Trek.
So there are 3 people watching right now going. They're just sitting there doing
They're
nothing.
just sitting there doing nothing.
We've lost our damn minds.
Well, we have, but that's beside the point.
Sorry that there's no JLB. Hopefully everything's okay in his life.
Yep.
Haven't heard from him in a while, so. I mean, he sends us gifts and memes and.
But never actual words of his own. And also importantly, never responses of, I'm not going to be there tonight.
Which is all the more reason you should not watch WTN. And the reason I say that is they don't even use their own words, man. That's right. I'll start a stream war.
Well, you can do it. We've brought it up before. Copy and paste straight from Dirt Sheet Radio. Ooh, Dirt Sheet Radio had a good post. No, it's my post. Anyways, so
you're gonna plagiarize the whole way.
Here's the deal: cite your sources, right? Just say Dirt Sheet Radio is reporting this, or I don't know, do like we all did in high school, and change the words around and use a thesaurus for a second. Like, it is being, what's a synonym for reported? Speculated that CM Punk has been invited to appear at Dynamite tonight. Ta-da! Now it's your own original post.
Ta-da!
Anyway, Wrestling Game Night, or formerly known as the Fantasy Booking Institute. This is where we play some fun games. We have a little bit of fun with professional wrestling. We might do a fantasy booking scenario where we'd say, hey, how would you book this feud? A viable one for us to do tonight would be talking about Forbidden Door. How would we book Forbidden Door and predictions on that? Something like that. Or we might do a game. We're probably going to do games tonight, I think. Because, I don't know, predicting Forbidden Door seems a little, boring.
Cliche?
Cliche, that's a good one. So, I always open it up for my co-host to decide whether they want to go first or whether they would like me to go first.
I am going to go first.
Awesome.
I am going to do the too soon public story and make it wrestling related. Okay, so we're going to do...
Which 5 wrestlers would you put on a submarine to die?
You have just opened a janky submarine company. You will be departing.
Right.
You will be departing with them. You'll go on this trip with them. Because you also make poor decisions to make bad submarines and then also die on them with your
submarines that importantly you can't get out of from the inside. I mean,
but if you could get out of it from the inside at 2 miles deep, you'd die instantaneously.
Well, yes, but here's the deal. So we now know that very likely they died days ago, shortly after descending, and it was fast, right? But
likely instantaneous death.
Yep. When they first were reported missing, they said they have 96 hours worth of life support in this vessel. But there are 2 things with it. A, the way the vessel was designed, it was neutrally dense at about 30 feet under the surface, right? That means if everything stopped working and it were allowed to just float, it would eventually float up to about 30 feet below the surface, right? Which importantly is not the surface, but it's close-ish to the surface.
But it's
And
close enough to the surface that you would not get bends leaving.
you would not get bent. And if you had to evacuate, there's a solid chance that you could make it to the top. Right. But even if, let's just even go speculate and say, hey, somehow or another they're able to get it all the way to the surface, right? They got caught in an undercurrent and pulled way off course, and that's why they lost track of them and all this stuff. But they're able to make it to the surface. They're now sitting on the surface, breathing their life support air because they cannot get out without help from the outside. It's bolted shut from the outside. Which means even if they had been able to make it to the surface, if help couldn't find them on the surface of the Atlantic Ocean, where
900 miles off of land.
yeah, they would just be floating there on the surface until they suffocated, right? That's why that's such a dumb idea. Yes, when you're 2 miles deep, of course you can't open it no matter what you do. You'd get crushed.
Yep.
Even if you had some sort of pressure suit that you could put on to get out, which does not exist, importantly, right? But even if you did, you couldn't get out at that deep because you're bolted in from the outside. Now, I think this is where the, the famous Malcolm quote from Jurassic Park, uh, "Nature finds a way," kind of comes into it because they were buckled in and bolted into that thing as hardcore as can be, but nature found a way. Uh, and so I, as always, I mourn the loss of life. As always. That being said, these were 4 of these people were billionaires who signed the waiver as fully consenting adults to go on this trip.
And an heir to the idiot who built this thing has $1 million now.
And the fifth person is the only one that kind of makes me a little sad because it was a 19-year-old man who wasn't originally supposed to be on it. Some other billionaire was supposed to be on it, and for whatever reason couldn't make it and pulled out at the last second. And this 19-year-old kind of won the jackpot of getting to go on this Titanic expedition.
And then died.
And now he's gone. That being said, I do also want to point out that right now there are 500 Pakistani refugees lost in the middle of the ocean.
In the Mediterranean.
But still in the middle of the sea.
Yep.
That
we aren't putting any effort into.
That we aren't putting any effort into finding. And we're not billionaires spending money to go as far away from humans as they possibly could. But rather
people trying to get away from
trying to make their lives better.
Government.
Yeah, trying to make their lives better. So, and
that happens monthly on trips from Cuba to Florida.
Yes. Yep. And so I have a hard time putting a whole lot of sympathy towards the billionaires who died doing an adventure that they didn't need to do when there are people dying regularly just trying to make their lives better.
Much better uses of all sets of resources. There are better ways to explore the Titanic. Literally, like we've sent cameras down there and have great.
But then you're not like right here with the Titanic.
But you can actually see it everything with the camera views.
But you're not like right here.
I might be able to see the necklace. Anyway, moving forward. So, far too
find
soon.
Jack's body.
Far too soon. Find Jack's body. It won't be Rose's because she took that entire door.
Yeah. I have a theory about the Titanic movie. That I don't care if there are any parts in the actual movie that blow this theory apart. I will believe this theory. This is my headcanon for this, right? And that is that Jack Dawson didn't exist. That Jack Dawson was an imagination of this unhappy fiance on the Titanic who was unhappy with her engagement and wanted an escape. And she created this vision in her mind of the type of guy that could sweep her off her feet. And he was romantic and he was fun and he was artistic and he was everything that her fiance wasn't. Because he was a stuck up, prick of a guy.
Who also died in that general vicinity in the ocean.
Yes.
Second time billionaires have died in that general vicinity.
Yeah. Well, they got the authentic Titanic experience, so.
Wow. All right. So here's our challenge.
Hey, you opened this can of worms.
Well, I said it was all too soon. Because, today's the day that they ran out of air. So if they did manage to just sink and not be crushed. So, you own a janky submarine company. Not submarine. Subcapsule company. Submersible company. You get to take 5 wrestlers down with you. You also get to choose these wrestlers from each individual television show, we'll say. So you get 2 sets from AEW, and just know that Andrade, Miro, and CM Punk have to be separate from, say, the Elite. But you're in with them. So this is kind of your 5-person Mount Rushmore of who you're going to enjoy your last hours with. And
so it's a six-person submersible?
Yeah.
Okay.
And you're going to choose the group who's going to come looking for you after that. So just understand that the people who you have trying to save you are different as well. So you have like a total of 20 to pick for in the sub and 20 to look for you. And you can do those in any segment you want. So you can do like all Raw, and then the Raw people hunting for you to help to save you or whatever.
Okay. I am. You say I have to.
This can be all. I shouldn't do it. You can do it all time as well if you want.
Okay.
One.
I'm doing I'm doing one for each show, or am I just doing one, but I have to pick the show?
No, one for each show.
One for each show.
We got some time to use. And I don't think you'll have too much trouble. Like, you don't have to know that they're going to die. Because you're going down, and I want you to live.
Going down in a nerdy.
So you got 4 days. 4 days with professional wrestlers. 5 professional wrestlers from each individual show. And then do it all time. So, 25 and 25.
Oddly enough, the toughest part is the who's searching for us.
It really is, because you want people who will give a shit. I would not choose Jeff Jarrett.
Jeff Jarrett's not even in my radar, man.
Well, I mean, if you knew that he was gonna go down,
but
you're dying too. And
I'm
you
there
have
too.
to die with Jeff Jarrett.
Yeah, And more specifically, I have to die spending days in a submersible with Jeff Jarrett.
We're assuming that you put together a good enough crew to live.
Yeah, I still wouldn't want to spend days in a submersible with Jeff Jarrett. It's tough because
This is dark game night, apparently.
yeah, my game's gonna be less dark. So, um, I'm gonna start with WWE because that's got clearer boundaries.
Yes.
Because right now,
The entirety of AEW's roster, barring 6 people,
yeah,
are on particular shows. 7 people. I forget Hangman sometimes.
yeah. Um, well, from Raw, I'm definitely doing Finn Balor. Um,
You better have a good rescue crew. He's your favorite wrestler, man.
but I'm gonna go down with him, on him, with him.
But on him,
Just you
good
didn't
for
hear
you,
that,
man. Good for
man.
you.
You didn't hear nothing. Um, we are going to do. Um, also importantly, Finn Balor's not a huge guy, so he doesn't take up as much space,
Or air.
like or air. But like, I'm definitely not doing Otis as one of my choices. Right. This is submersible where we need a little bit of space. Um,
Some elbow room, Otis.
I think Sami Zayn would be a hoot. Um, excuse me.
Oh, I thought you were laughing at your own joke there for a second.
No, it was a weird yawn sound. I don't know what else to call it. He's a little bigger than I would like to be in a submersible with, but Kevin Owens.
Feels like a fat joke.
No, he's just fluffier. I I'm gonna still be the biggest one in this submersible, um, except in height. That's still gonna go to a wrestler, but um, I think I think Xavier Woods would be a good person in a submersible
Okay.
to be with because we could talk about like wrestling and it's controlled by a Logitech Xbox style controller.
Maybe
So
there's not even an accident if he's.
yeah, maybe he's the one piloting and he keeps it keeps it going. Um, and number 5, we'll go Johnny Wrestling, Mr. Gargano.
Really? I thought for sure that you would have Cody with you.
No, because he already dresses like a captain, so he's going to be on the search team.
Oh, okay. Are you doing search team straight away?
I wasn't ready to, but you brought up Cody Rhodes, so I had to explain why.
All right, fair enough.
Um,
We'll hold on. Move
yeah.
on to SmackDown.
And importantly, there were people in the women's division that I would have put in the submersible as well, but it just seems a little creepy for fat guy me to be like, I want to be locked in a submersible alone with Rhea Ripley, Liv Morgan, Chelsea Green, Becky Lynch, and
So that's creepy.
yes,
Shit.
I mean, you're the king of creepy, so you can
Oh,
go ahead and
shoot.
do it.
Whew. All right. Wait a minute. Hey.
Hey. Um, for SmackDown, uh, I am doing Cameron Grimes, because if there's a problem, he can take us to the moon.
I don't know if it's equipped to go to the moon. I mean,
Well,
you
it
asked the
might not be
owner, and
equipped to go to 2 miles down below the surface, but we'll find out. Um, I am taking Jay Uso, but not Jimmy Uso.
you okay?
Um,
You got something against alcoholism?
yes, yes, I do.
Fair enough.
Also, I've always liked Jay better than Jimmy. Um,
I mean, any dude who can rock a bullet and be called main event is a pretty good dude.
um, I'm going to take Karrion Cross because if we get bored, he can do his impersonation of Jesse Ventura and it'd make me laugh.
Does he do a pretty good
He
Jesse
does a
Ventura?
really good Jesse Ventura. Chris Van Vliet was doing a workout interview with him, and he went off on Jesse Ventura. Um, Edge, because I have like a long history with being an Edge fan, so I think I'd do him. And
Would you call yourself an edgehead?
no, my Edge fandom is actually pre-Edge heads, so so here's my ponderance. Do I choose AJ Styles so I can grill him the entire time about uh why he who's flown all around the world thinks there are things to think about with flat earth theory? Um
Well, I mean, you probably have the supporting cast to have some fun with it.
yeah. Like things to think about with flat earth theory? What's there to fucking think about? None of it makes sense. Um but I think I'm gonna do someone else.
If he is actually a flat earther, at least he's one that keeps his mouth shut a little bit.
He claims he's not a flat earther, but that they've got some interesting points.
Like
Which
what?
which to me is like a way of saying I'm kind of a flat earther.
There's nothing. There's no interesting point. I mean, if you go outside, there's an end. What?
Cuz the firmament uh holds the air in, and some of them even believe that we each have our own personal dome around us.
To me, I think there's more logic. And I don't get me wrong. I don't believe this, but I think there's more logic involved in the. What if this is all just a dream, man?
Yeah, dude,
Conversation.
Matrix theory, man, go all in on that. I got no problems there. Um,
But like, I don't know, man. Like, there's just okay. It's a government conspiracy. proposed by Galileo in the 1300s or
all
1200s.
governments conspiracy, even the enemy governments are like, yeah, we'll protect this secret. No, here's my biggest thing: is they say wow, tangent tonight. They say it's a government conspiracy because NASA wants to continue to be able to get the big money to do their stuff, and if it went public that it's a flat Earth, then NASA couldn't spend billions of dollars on space research.
Except
Except,
for NASA didn't exist when we discovered. Like
yeah, well,
when we
beside
mathematically proved the Earth wasn't flat.
aside from that, right? Do you think NASA wouldn't just exist? Oh, in a we're now the National Aeronautics and Firmament Organization. They'd be NAFA, right? And they'd be like, we're sending up rockets to check the firmament, right? It, they would just have pivoted to a flat Earth thing, right? It's not like flat Earth concept is impenetrable for exploitation monetarily, right? They'd be like, "Oh, we got to send exploration over the edge to see what's underneath." Right? We have to go past the Great Ice Wall to see what exists outside, right? They would just have pivoted a long time ago. It makes no sense to me. Like they keep up this lie of space because otherwise they wouldn't get all this money because of they still would. They would just angle it at the flat Earth, right?
I didn't even know that there was what they call it, a firmament. Is that
Yeah,
they're calling
it's
it like a personal dome?
well, yeah. There's a couple things. The dome and the firmament are technically two separate things. The
Okay.
dome is what they use to describe why, we say, well, but if the Earth was flat, why can I not see the Eiffel Tower in the distance? Well, we each have our personal dome around us that is the limit of what we can see, and so things that are outside of it are, and that's only a sect of them that think that. Others, come up with other reasons. Oh, the atmosphere bends the light in ways to obscure things at that long of a distance and whatever. Right. The firmament actually comes from the Bible. Um that uh God created the firmament above us. And it's like one specific
Say
translation.
it's that fails a lot of biblical
Mhm.
other parts of the Bible, shall we say?
Yeah. So other translations of it changed it to heaven instead of the firmament, right? Because the firmament is just a translation of the original Greek word, but it's in Genesis, right? And God said, "Let there be Rakaya," which is translated either to heaven or an expanse, but certain texts translated it as firmament. In the midst of the waters, and let it divide the waters from the water, right? The waters above it. And so that's why they think that there's a firmament dome over the entire flat Earth that is holding the water that exists outside of it away from the water inside the firmament, right? Because the Bible says that. Well, it doesn't say that.
Separating the waters of the air from the earth, waters of the earth. Yeah, I mean the Bible does say it separate the waters of the air from the waters of the earth. Oh my God! Anyway,
Mhm.
this is not a.
So, and God called the firmament Shemayim, which numerous scholars say is the same as Ibi Aquai, their waters. Anyways, um, but that's my point. Is
It's interesting the subject
it?
comes up because we're doing a challenge about a ridiculous sub being made to go underwater, and we also are talking about a subject where an idiot made himself a rocket
Mm-hmm.
and died, but his black box recorded that he proved it at what, like 900 feet? Like, it wasn't very high altitude. I proved that the Earth is not round because I got up there and I couldn't see
Yeah.
the roundness.
Yeah, that's not high enough, man.
No,
You know.
no.
Here's the deal: is if you are cruising at 20,000 feet and you look out your window, um, if you look really really carefully, uh, you can see ever so slightly a curve, right? It's
Yeah.
very very slight. You have to be a lot higher to really spot the curve. Um,
But you can do it in an airplane.
but you can see
Just
it
take
in an
flight.
airplane.
Yeah.
Right. You if you look carefully, you can tell that there is a curve. It is very very slight, but you can see it. If you get up even higher, you can see it even more, right? Um but no, my favorite thing was in the we're totally on a tangent now. In
Yeah,
a
we are.
documentary that the flat earthers paid for, right? They uh had been asked, about the 15 degree per hour tilt. If you have a gyroscope, right, and
Uh-huh.
it's vertical, in an hour, it'll have a 15-degree tilt because of the way the Earth is spinning, right? Gyroscope staying this way, the Earth spins underneath it, so now it looks like this. Um, and Importantly, in 24 hours, that
It'll be
15
vertical again.
degree tilt goes all the way around until it's back vertical again, right? Um, and they said no, that's just a trick, with poor quality uh gyroscopes or things like. So they had investors and fans who donated $10,000 for them to buy a scientific laser gyroscope that can measure to the 1 millionth of a degree. Um, and they set it up and they're like, this will prove that there's no 15-degree tilt per hour. And after an hour, there was a 15-degree tilt on this. So then they were like, oh no, it must be because it could see the atmosphere, it could see the sky, and that confused it or something. So then they built a special room to put it in so that it was enclosed and the sky couldn't confuse the gyroscope and cause the 15 degree per hour axis tilt. And they did it again, and it still had a 15-degree per hour axis tilt, and they did it like 3 times, and every time it came up with a 15-degree per hour tilt.
Then it was a
And they're
faulty gyroscope.
Yeah, and they're just like, well, I can't figure out why it's doing that, but and they now try to say that it proved that the Earth isn't round because something or another.
If you want to believe something, you're going to
Mhm.
try to do everything in your power
Yep.
to believe it.
But it's like my whole point is that all of this is based off of this concept of the government slash NASA is lying to you because there's more profit in space than there would be in flat Earth. And I maintain that that's the stupidest argument on the planet because they would just pivot to exploring the flat Earth.
Pivot.
That's all they would do. If there's one thing that my 45 years on this planet has taught me is that rich people will exploit anything, right? To get more rich. And so if your argument is that they're doing this to get more rich off something, then your argument is flawed because they would just do it with that thing, right? Um, they would not hire Stanley Kubrick to fake a moon landing if they could instead hire Stanley Kubrick to fake an expedition off the edge of the Earth, right? Because there's just as much money in flat Earth exploration as there is in space exploration. Maybe even more. Because space exploration, we at least have explanations for lots of things because we're like, oh, that's a star. We can see it's a star. We can measure that it's X distance away, yada, yada, yada. But on flat Earth, there's stuff under us that we can't ever see. There's potentially an entire society on the other side
Dude, what a
of
great
the flat
movie.
Earth.
Make up the proof of flat Earth. The exploration to the other side of the Earth.
Mm-hmm.
That's not a bad movie concept.
So it's like their whole thing is based on such a stupid fallacy that it. Anyways, so I was at 3. I need 2 more. This breaks my little guy rule. Not little guy rule, but trying to keep them smaller. Rick Boogs, because if I need some entertainment, he can air guitar.
With you.
With me, yes, we can be an air band. I'll do air bass.
Air bass would be boring.
Not the way I play air bass.
Oh. Yeah, but
the bass is the heartbeat.
There's no air bass in Wild Stallions. But
right. And if I get bored, I'll set aside my air bass and I'll air drum.
All right, so you got Jay, you got Rick Boogs.
Jay,
who was your first one?
Rick Boogs, Edge, Cameron Grimes. So that puts me at 4. Need 1 more.
My name is Rick Boogs.
Rick Boogs.
I really would love to see him and Shinsuke still together, but both of them have a push. And I'm here to rock with Shinsuke Nakamura. Sorry.
Okay. This is bending the rules a bit. But not breaking them, bending them, which is the best type of breaking the rules.
Sure.
R-Truth, because he's a free agent right now.
Fair enough. I'll give it to you. That's pure entertainment. I mean, he can rap for you. He can
a lot of entertainment. Plus, I can ask him what it felt like to be the first black NWA world champion.
True.
So, and he'd probably be like, "I was."
I don't think he actually would be that way. I mean,
I didn't know that.
I thought John Cena was. I always wanted to grow up to be like John Cena.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway.
Am I doing NXT? Probably.
No.
Okay.
That would be too difficult. You don't watch enough of it.
You're right. I don't. Because I was sitting here going, I don't know, Dragon Lee and Ikemen Jiro and
Wesley. He's small.
He's small. He'd also probably bring some wacky tobacco with him, and I feel like
Why did he get suspended recently for wacky
his whole
tobacco?
gimmick in TNA, him and the rest of the
that's right, because he
Rascals.
was he was the Rascals.
Their theme music started with a bong hit.
So
Yeah, I got 3. In terms of rescue crew, so we've got Braun Strowman, because someone's got to be big and strong to pull
the
like
riveted door off.
riveted door off, or like if they're able to like attach a cable to us to pull us up, somebody's got to be able to be strong and pull. So I already mentioned Cody Rhodes,
I feel like there's machines for that, but go on.
but why have a machine when you can have Braun Strowman?
Tough to argue that point. I mean, it's almost as valid as like a flat Earth conversation.
Um, I would have. I already said Cody because Cody looks like a captain. I would have finishing off the 5-person crew would be all 3 members of Imperium because I feel like they'd run a tight ship. Like they'd have it all organized. They'd know we're grid searching. We have to search quadrant A first.
Fair enough.
So,
They'd protect the sanctity of the Atlantic Ocean. Okay. SmackDown?
for SmackDown, following much the same theory, Bobby Lashley.
That's the powerhouse who's going
That's
to
the
pull
powerhouse
the cable.
going to pull the cable.
Okay.
Yep. LA Knight, because I need someone to be like, yeah, when they rescue us.
Power of positivity, I get it.
Exactly. Roman Reigns, because he's got to lead Jay back to the bloodline somehow and can't let it end that way. So he's got a reason to find us. And I don't know why, but somehow or another, I think I want Pretty Deadly along. They'd wear some really cool pirate like naval uniforms and run around looking fabulous.
Oh, okay. I never really figured you for. I mean, like if you're gonna choose fashion, at least choose fashion, please.
Well, but they're not with WWE anymore. So.
I know.
Okay,
I miss Fandango and his beautiful deep voice.
Yeah, he recently returned to wrestling.
Where?
Because he had temporarily retired, but he returned at Impact Wrestling
With Tyler Bate or by himself?
by himself. No
Going
Tyler
as fun.
Bate.
It was probably not as Fandango.
He's now Dirty Dongo.
Yeah. Here's another thing for
he's
WWE
moved into,
to learn. They can make a name that is a gimmick on your name.
Yeah. He goes Dirty Dongo, and his gimmick now is kind of sleazy ballroom dancer instead of just ballroom dancer.
Ooh.
So,
Liberating.
Santina Morello teamed up with Dongo and Joe Hendry at Rebellion to face and ultimately defeat the Design, which is a group that includes Sami Callihan, Diener, Angels, Khan, which is the former Connor from the Ascension. But then he turned heel and he attacked Morella and Joe Hendry. So yeah. Anyways.
You can't attack Joe Hendry.
Joe Hendry's music, play Joe
It's not the
Hendry's
best part about
music,
him, though.
Joe Hendry's
That's the
music.
mind-boggling part. It's his spoof skits on the other.
And Joseph Connors. So on Dynamite, I'm gonna start off with Johnny Hungy because I feel like he'd bring a snack that he could share. And I figure I get a couple miles below sea, I'll get hungry. I'll take
That's probably true.
Brian Danielson because he'll probably tell me all sorts of facts about the ocean. Like, see that sea kelp over there? It's a rare species of kelp that it's got a special undersea photosynthesis that releases extra carbon dioxide into the atmosphere. I don't know.
Extra carbon dioxide.
Yeah, it's a special kind of one.
Okay, yeah. So it's a carnivorous seaweed.
Nope, it's just a backwards photosynthesis. Takes the oxygen in the water and turns it into carbon dioxide.
But it's not breathing.
But it's not breathing. Nope.
I appreciate that.
It's reverse photosynthesis.
Yeah, I heard you the first time.
Because there's not a lot of light, so it puts off its own light when doing it. Glows. I don't know. I'm making shit up. Platinum Max Caster because we might need entertainment. Orange Cassidy because I might need tips on how to nap in stressful situations.
That's 4, correct?
That is 4. Go back up to the top of the list.
But that's only 4 for AEW 1. It's
Yes.
Dynamite.
Mm-hmm.
Any member of the Elite here?
No.
Oh my. Things I didn't expect today.
Girl too big. It's a small submersible.
Well, if that's the case, then Adam Cole, baby, is your answer.
He's definitely a thought process. I'm just triple checking.
Make sure you don't have somebody smaller or what?
Or somebody that I will be fine with giving up that extra space for. No, I'm gonna go Adam Cole for that last one. So that's Dynamite.
Okay.
For Collision, we are going to
going to Cali. No.
We're going on a trip in our favorite rocket ship. Rocking to the sky, little Einstein.
I want to know why 5 children, have a favorite rocket ship.
Yeah, that should all be your favorite. Like first of all, right? That
Why do you
implies
have
they
more
have
than
multiple
one?
rocket
Yes.
ships.
Let's just start with that.
And then this one, and
And then they're
here's the
picky about it.
it's kind of a boring rocket ship to be their favorite, right? Plus, it gets attitude with them. Like it's got its own personality, and that's kind of
And the way they've got to fly it is to pat their legs.
yeah. That's a seems a really silly way to power a ship.
I would choose the one with jet fuel or with
Yeah,
hydrogen fuel.
something like that. At the very least, solar or something.
Go on. Did you pick somebody?
No, I'd said because I'm thinking
I had the very enjoyable experience tonight of asking my girlfriend's daughter what was in the bottle she was drinking. It was a bottle of dihydrogen monoxide.
deadliest chemical on the planet.
It legitimately is. And she said, I said, you know that has chemicals in it, right? She said, no, it doesn't. I said, yeah, it has dihydrogen monoxide. So it kills more people on the coast every year than any other chemical. And she was like, Mom, is that true? She's 7, so.
Okay.
Mom explained, which is not fair.
My collision ship is going to be fun.
Okay.
So to start off, I'm going to do all 3 members of the House of Black. Yeah, we're going to cram in a little tighter. But,
Yeah, I mean, you got Brody King in there, bud.
yeah. It's going to be a little tighter fit because of Brody King. But I think it's... Well, and Buddy Matthews, he might not be tall, but he ain't no small guy either. Right? Malachi Black is probably the smallest in terms of body mass of the members there, and
That's true.
he's still not exactly small, but I just think all 3 of them they could be relatively quiet over in the corner. You'd hardly notice them there. They're totally fine if we have moments of lights out. Might have the lights come back on and they'd be in a different position, but CM Punk is going to be number 4.
Okay.
And boom, boom, Colt Cabana, boom, boom,
Jeez,
Colt Cabana.
You are tight quarters, but it's going to be entertaining. Holy
They are
cow.
going to work this shit out. Right? This is like that plot line in the sitcoms growing up where the enemies get stuck in an elevator together and they have to work shit out.
And this is why House of Black is there as mediators, I suppose.
Mm-hmm. Stop it from getting too bloody.
Okay, who's rescuing on Dynamite and who's rescuing on Collision? And we don't have to do an all-time. We're running.
Yeah.
About 40 minutes.
So for rescuing, we are going to have Billy Gunn is on Dynamite. Billy Gunn, because Platinum Caster's in there, and that's effectively his adopted son. You already know my reasoning behind the Machine Brian Cage.
Okay. Yep, I do.
Darby Allin, because if there's anyone crazy enough to dive in, if need be, it's him, so Echo. And no Echo anymore.
Sorry, man.
I try to, yeah. Yeah.
Wow, you just broke up entirely through that.
I did not. We are still solidly in our relationship, my friend.
No, it was so digity. I could almost not understand anything that you said. Sounded
I
like a
am a robot.
sounded like a robot on ecstasy.
Well,
And I don't know how robots
things you
sound on
didn't know
ecstasy.
about your friends.
Um,
My dream just got really unique because my dream has me as a robot on ecstasy. What if this is all just a dream, man?
I had a weird dream last night. I dreamt I was out shopping with my wife and we were going to stores, and I all of a sudden in the middle of one of the stores realized I didn't have any pants on.
I've had
Uh
the naked dream recently too. That's weird.
I had like a long shirt, and so nobody else noticed I didn't have pants on. But I'm very conscious of the fact that I'm in a store with no pants on, just a long shirt. Um and like I had pants at the beginning of the dream, at the beginning of the shopping. Somewhere in one of the stores my pants disappeared.
Gotta be Kroger's. Albertsons for you. Sorry.
Baker's here.
Isn't Albertson still in Omaha?
No Albertsons, all Bakers.
Kroger doesn't have Albertsons in Omaha anymore?
Nope, they're all Bakers.
Does Kroger own Bakers?
Yes.
Oh, wow. Okay, that would be why. And
Mhm.
our tangents are amaze balls, dude.
Yes. Um so far
Brian Cage and Billy Gunn.
Brian Cage and Billy Gunn. Um Danhausen. I don't know if he's gonna play any good in rescuing us, but he's gonna have a ball doing it. So um
Hold on. He can put an anti curse, an anti hex on your sub.
um and then uh uh I think if you're gonna have a rescue mission, having a cowboy in the rescue is a good idea. So
To
Hangman Adam
do,
Page there.
to do cowboy shit.
Yeah. Cowboy shit might be necessary.
Okay. Even
And
if
then
they're anxious millennial cowboys?
even if they are anxious and millennial. And then for that fifth spot, I had an idea and now it's slipped out of my brain, so I've got to find it again. Uh
Who's going to keep things organized? Do you want to use an announcer? Because Tony Schiavone.
no, I had an idea and I was like, "Oh, I got to name him last for some reason."
Oh,
And now I've got to find it again. Oh, yeah, that's what it was. So this last one takes a little bit of backstory. Uh on the trip, I am going to in my personal carry-on uh bring a very, very rare action figure. Um and so Ethan Page is going to be in the rescue team. Uh Motivated by rescuing that very, very rare action figure.
fair.
It's a little bit of extra motivation for him. Um, for the collision team, um, we are going to. It's going to start off with Andrade and Miro, and mostly because they know that without CM Punk on Collision that
There's no money.
there's no money there, and so they got to get him back to ensure their success there.
Okay.
We're gonna have Keith Lee. He's gonna play the muscle role for this particular time around.
Just fuck machines.
Mhm.
However, last one you did use a machine.
Last one was a machine. You are correct there. I feel like having Mark Briscoe along would be a good idea in case they need to Jimmy rig something up. He's got that redneck mentality to get things done. So
Keep in mind, you have Keith Lee, and he's limitless. He'll just dive down and get it.
he is indeed limitless. In case Keith Lee isn't enough to pull up the cable, though, we're also going to have Powerhouse Hobbs there.
Wow, they got Keith Lee.
Well,
Not
he's got
stronger than the machine.
he's got long COVID, man.
Runs out of breath. Yeah.
You might need a break, and that's when Powerhouse Hobbs. I mean, his name is Powerhouse.
So that is our way too soon and probably only reference to the submarine in this game, or to the not submarine, the subpod. What is it? What is it called?
Submersible.
Submersible. Jeez.
So on to
The
my
dude
game.
had descriptions on the website of how he made it.
Yeah, it's
You should have known it was janky as fuck.
so I read a statistic, and the current world record
For what?
for deepest submarine or submersible dive was the Deep Sea Challenger, which was James Cameron's thing.
Okay.
35,756 feet below the surface.
7 miles.
Yes. And that was the deepest part of the Marianas Trench.
With manned? It's not manned.
I think it actually has a person in it. I think it's a single person.
That's unbelievable. Like the pressurization, the counter pressurization inside is phenomenal. That's high tech right there.
It is super high tech. It cost him millions. I'm trying to see if there's a quote on here about how much it cost. But anyways, cost him millions, like 2.5 million, right? To build this thing. This submersible that went missing cost like $250,000 to build, which is still a lot of money, but importantly, obviously not enough, right?
Well, I mean, they've had 9 successful missions before this, so
9
that's the power of Home Depot.
semi-successful. There's a guy who did, because here's the deal is not all of them were all the way down to the Titanic, but they counted them as successful.
Oh,
And there was one
you're
guy,
alive, aren't you?
yeah, there was one guy who wrote about his test on it, about how they went down to like 1,000 feet or something like that, deep enough to test things out, but not like stupid deep, right? Um, and they went around for a bit, and then the guy said, "What do you think? You want to go down to the Titanic?" And the guest on it said, "No, I think I've had enough." And he later wrote that the thing just felt not safe at that depth. There was no way he was going down farther on it. I saw someone posted on TikTok. It was a clip from a recent episode of Jeopardy. I say recent because Ken Jennings was hosting it, and not guest hosting, but regular hosting. You know what I mean? So it's within the last year or so, right? Um, and the person, the one of the contestants on it, they were like, "So your son recently got married. I hear that you attending that wedding came at great cost." And he said, "Yes. So my son got married recently, and I had to cancel a trip that I had booked. A friend of mine works at a company that takes these submersible trips down to the Titanic. Um, and I was booked on that trip, and then my son announced their wedding date for the same weekend, so I had to cancel my trip to instead go to my son's wedding. And boy, I bet he's thankful now. It wasn't the same trip, but still.
Well, most of the reviews of the people who have gone down have said underwhelming.
Yeah.
Well, what did you think you were going to do? Go dance on the dance floor? I mean, it's ridiculous. Anyways,
But
you have a challenge, bud?
so my challenge to you is not related to
Current events?
uh the current event. It is, however, uh related to something current, and that is the new Spider-Man movie, Across the Spider-Verse Part 1, that is in theaters now, that I had the joy of seeing recently.
Was it good?
It was good. It was I the frustration with it stems mostly from the fact that it's part one of a two-part, and so I don't feel like I'm spoiling anything for anybody to say that it does not have a satisfying ending, because it is part one of a two-part story, right? So anyone going to see it needs to keep that in mind, that it doesn't really end the story. It ends at a point where you're like, okay, what happens next, right? Otherwise, it was fun, a lot of fun. A little bit less fun. I go. A little bit less fun going with a 5-year-old as her first trip to a movie theater. That
Ooh,
did not go well.
she probably wanted to get up and go do something.
Yeah,
Like, oh, I'm
so
done now.
yeah, so there's kind of a story behind it. When picking my daughter up from daycare on Monday, uh they said, "Hey, we need you to sign this release form because on Thursday we're taking the big kids to a movie." And I'm like, "Oh, great. Yeah, I'll sign that." And then a bit later, when my wife gets home from work, I tell her, "Hey, just so you know, our daughter is going to be going to a movie on Thursday with her daycare, and she's super excited. And my wife bursts out in tears because she wanted to be there for Stella's first trip to a movie theater.
Let's get her done.
So Tuesday we went to a movie. We chose Across the Spider-Verse because we thought that my daughter likes Spider-Man, and so that might keep her attention. Although, in fairness, it is 2.5 hours long, which probably was part of our mistake. Uh, but B, we thought that with the other movies that were out, like Little Mermaid and Super Mario, and what is that? The one that's about the Kraken versus the
Oh, yeah, I know which one you're talking about. Kraken versus mermaids, and yeah.
and Elemental, the new Disney Pixar one. We thought, hey, Spider-Man is a pretty safe bet to not be the one that they take kids to. Puss in Boots is still in theaters. Uh, so I was like, I feel like there's a good shot that the movie they take them to is not one of the more recent ones. It's one that's been out for a little bit, and because it was cheap and all that stuff. Anyways, so we took her into the Across the Spider-Verse Part 1, and we enjoyed it, but she made it hard, and I feel really bad for the 10 other people that were in the theater at the same time, trying to enjoy a movie with a 5-year-old who couldn't sit still and wanted to climb on top of the chairs and wanted to stand on things and wanted to talk loudly. In a fun side note to it, today being Thursday, they did go to a movie, and the movie they went to was Spider-Man.
So she said, I've already seen this.
So she saw it twice. But maybe maybe that's what she needed, is a second time to see it to settle down or something. I don't know. Who knows?
So no news about her being crazy at the theater.
They didn't say that she was misbehaving. However, she was there with a bunch of other 5-year-olds, and so it could be that they all were knucking fuss, and she was no different than the other ones, and so not newsworthy. But so that inspires my story. Now you have not seen the most recent one, but
No,
you've seen Into the Spider-Verse, the one that came out years ago.
Yep.
So you at least are familiar with the concept of it. So the game is going to be simple. I want you to create alternate world variants of professional wrestlers. Just like Spider-Man, they have to share something in common with the professional wrestler that you get, but other things can change. For instance, in Spider-Man, you have Peter Parker, and then you have Miles Morales, and Miles Morales is the Spider-Man of this universe. Mm-hmm. And some parts are the same. He got bit by a radioactive spider, and he's got the power to stick to buildings and
but he can turn invisible.
But he's got to
electrify his webs.
He can turn invisible and electrify. And importantly, he's not Peter Parker. He's someone else, right?
Yes.
He's a younger kid and all that stuff. So I'm going to throw out a wrestler, and I want you to create an alternate world variant
with a different wrestler.
You can be a different wrestler, Can just be a gimmick change or something similar to it. Just what makes him different in that world.
In the alternate world. Okay.
Yes. And we're going to start with a fun one in Orange Cassidy.
Orange Cassidy. Okay. So, alternate world Orange Cassidy. Obviously, still has the last name Cassidy. This would be Apple Cassidy. So it's a different person. Apple Cassidy will be played by Carlito, so you still get this bidding. Which is one of the changes. He will put his hands, rather than in his pockets, in a fanny pack he wears to the ring. And will have obviously less athleticism because it's Carlito, who's athletic but not Orange Cassidy athletic. Mind you, there's an apple in his fanny pack, and he will pull out, as opposed to where Orange Cassidy carries a book bag with his title in it. Orange Cassidy's fanny pack will have an apple and a ring, because now rings are part of professional wrestling. Thank you, Tony Khan. And a ring as his item he carries to the ring. Obviously, he's still going to be not lazy, but minimum amount of work, minimum effort. So,
Okay. Next one, Matt Riddle.
okay. The Matt Riddle's his real name, though. So, original Bro is going to be the moniker like Spider-Man. Johnny the Bull is going to be the guy who's the original Bro, of Italian descent, and he's going to be like traditional New Jersey Bro, like Jersey Shore style Bro.
Okay.
Obviously, completely different moveset there, but still attempts to have as cool of MMA style stuff as Matt Riddle. Definitely a lesser version.
Okay. Next wrestler, Charlotte Flair.
Charlotte Flair is played by Ashley Flair. So this one will be played by David Flair. And will be the King Bee instead of the Queen Bee. And will still try to have spin-offs from his dad.
Okay. Paul Heyman.
What versions of Paul Heyman do I get? Any one I choose?
Anyone you choose.
Okay. So Paulie Dangerously. Played by Paul Roma. Still wears the hat all the time. Still cuts lots and lots of promos. Manages Mr. Wonderful since they were a tag team together. Goes on to manage Stunning Steve Austin, which was part of his crew. Stunning Steve never gets a haircut. Never becomes the ringmaster. Never becomes Stone Cold in that universe. And but instead beats Ric Flair for the WCW Championship. WCW stays around for all those years because Stunning Steve becomes the new Ric Flair. Oh, with Paul Roma as his manager. What a difference maker. Paulie Dangerously, played by Paul Roma. God, it's a horrible storyline.
Next
Eric
up,
Bischoff never goes out of business.
Triple H.
Holy shit, dude. Triple H. Short for Heather Hurst Helmsley, the Connecticut Blue Blood, daughter of the Federation owner. Stephanie McMahon invents women before Stephanie McMahon invented women. Still performs the pedigree, still performs the same moveset. There you go.
Okay.
Beats Medusa for the title at 16. Oh, she's about 10 years older than us, so I guess she'd have been about 26, 23. Somewhere there.
Cody Rhodes.
I'm trying to think of somebody that the Stardust gimmick could have saved their career. And there's nobody. Moniker American Nightmare. In that universe, Kenny Omega never becomes the cleaner and is the American Nightmare. Some 3 to 4 years before Cody Rhodes is even out of WWE. It's Kenny Omega. Adds the V trigger to his moveset. I'm gonna say something, and this is gonna be a hot take. One-Winged Angel is all about the sell. It's just not a finisher. It's all about the sell. That it's so hard for people to kick out and it's so hard for him to set up. Just so you know, that's in real life. So
Okay.
Kenny Omega gets it.
I disagree, but that's beside the point. We'll go
Well,
on.
cool. We're,
The whole point of a hot take. Yeah, I get it.
yeah. So he gets the Crossroads, still from Cody. Doesn't pick up the Cody Cutter. also, like, suspension of disbelief is a little bit tough on that move. For it to be set up every fucking match. That's what I'm saying. So he has the V trigger in the crossroads.
Like the 619.
Yeah.
People never fall like that in any other match.
Correct. And just dangle there.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still here. Still here. I better look over my shoulder real quick, see when he's coming. I'm still here.
Well, I'm just going to hang out on this second rope for a while. I'm getting real tired.
So, I usually watch Dynamite on Thursdays, but I knew I had a really busy Thursday, so I watched it last night.
Mm-hmm.
And I find it very, very interesting. My girlfriend sat down with me, and there was, I don't remember what match it was, but there was a setup to take a splash from somebody last night. A top rope move. Where they ended up getting pushed off the top rope. Oh, it was in Jeff Hardy. It was in the very first match. Who was laying down? They fought. Hardy's fought who?
Give me a second. I was pulling up the results. Guns.
Okay. So Colton, I believe, was the one that was laying there, getting ready to take a move from Jeff. And Jeff Hardy is up on the top rope. Colton adjusts on the mat, to take the move. And then he gets pushed off. So Colton gets out of the way. And I'm just like, they swerved those of us who knew that he was adjusting to take the move, making us think that he was going to take a move, and he didn't take the move. That was pretty cool. Like, it was just genuinely a good, okay, fine. We don't always know what's going to happen. So, yeah, I just thought I'd bring that up. Sorry. And then my girlfriend looked at me and said, it's Wednesday. Why are you watching wrestling on Wednesday? How often is this on?
Every day, baby.
I said every day but Thursday. Every day but Thursday. Some Saturdays and Sundays it's on. It's never on Thursdays.
Not the ones we watch. No. Impact Wrestling is Thursday.
Yeah,
so.
That's true. So I said 3 hours Monday, 2 hours Tuesday, 2 hours Wednesday, 3 hours Friday. She goes, what? I was like, yeah, there's 10 hours a week of wrestling.
12 now.
Oh, and yeah, I forgot that it's always Saturdays now. So 12 hours a week of wrestling of those two programs. And NXT. If you had Impact, then you got 14. Good Lord. Yeah, she. How can people watch so much wrestling? Why wouldn't they watch MMA? I don't know. Why don't you watch every other television show than a soap opera? Do you like soap operas?
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah. That's why everybody watches these.
Yeah. I would just respond, I don't feel like I need to explain this art to you.
Anyway, sorry, you get another rest of it.
We're going to go back in time. Ultimate Warrior.
Oh, jeez.
The Alternate Warrior.
Alternate Warrior. It's like the opposite of Orange Cassidy. I'm going to reintroduce him as the Renegade.
Renegade.
Wait, no. Wait, that's already been done.
Renegade.
In the alternate universe, this character is played by Ron Simmons, who still runs out to the ring, has all the powerhouse moves, shakes the ring, everything. And the major difference is that the promos aren't 19 hours long and actually make sense because he just looks at people and goes, And I'm using all eras of Ron Simmons here, obviously, because later eras could not run out to the ring. But I'm using damn as his only promo. So he has great promos. Obviously, never makes television because in that era, damn was a banned word on television. So that's probably not a good move. Darn! Ron Simmons would have been a great Ultimate Warrior. Oh, why wouldn't it? That's so stupid.
Yeah, we'll do one more and then we'll wrap things up.
Okay.
Alternate world, CM Punk.
Owen Hart. Gets the opportunity to cut the angry promos. There were always angry promos that were cut about his brother. So Owen Hart's still alive and gets that opportunity to cut the promos that CM Punk got to cut. And we probably get to see a world champion Owen Hart because of it. Somber mode, man. But it's one of the few wrestlers that you could really see carrying that. When he cut an angry promo, he cut it damn good.
Okay. Well, on that note, we're
Any of
going
those
to
you would have changed?
Um,
Obviously, the CM Punk from as quiet as you were.
I don't know who I would have done for CM Punk. I just, like, to me, I don't go immediately to Owen Hart on it, but I don't know who I would have gone.
Can you imagine if Owen was given the opportunity to cut a pipe bomb? It's gold.
I think it would have been fun to go Ultimo Warrior.
Ultimo Dragon does Ultimate Warrior. Okay.
Ultimo
It has all
Warrior.
but I mean, you got to keep some of the movesets. Well, all Ultimate Warrior had was the Gorilla Press.
Oh, he'd still deliver the same promos in Japanese, right? But they would be the same rambling promos that made no sense. He would still run to the ring and shake the ropes and all of that.
But instead, he gives up the one move set.
Yeah, he can't do that one move.
Doesn't do the Gorilla Press.
But
and has
instead of a mask, he would have face paint, or maybe a mask that was shaped like face paint.
that's fun.
But anyways,
I'm dark as fuck tonight because I bring up Owen Hart to close it out, and I put everybody on.
well, it is time. The WWE, not WWE, AEW announced the brackets for the Owen Hart Memorial Tournament. Pulling them up because we can talk really quickly about the brackets.
Okay.
So the men's bracket starts at Forbidden Door with CM Punk versus Satoshi Kojima from New Japan. You also have Roderick Strong versus Samoa Joe. On the other side of the bracket, you have Dustin Rhodes versus Powerhouse Hobbs and Juice Robinson versus Ricky Starks. I think this is relatively easy to book. I don't think you have Kojima continuing on in this. I think he's going to be a one shot. CM Punk's going to win there. Because CM Punk won, I think we're setting up Samoa Joe to win over Roderick Strong, which then leads to the semifinal match, CM Punk versus Samoa Joe, which they kind of set in motion with the match that they had on Collision last week, that CM Punk and Samoa Joe were both involved in. On the other side, Dustin Rhodes versus Powerhouse Hobbs. I see no reason they would put Dustin Rhodes over there.
Yeah.
Juice Robinson versus Ricky Starks. This is probably the most
That's a
difficult
fire match.
It's going to be a fun match. I think Juice Robinson wins because Ricky Starks and Juice Robinson are in a feud. Hear me out. Ricky Starks and Juice Robinson are in a feud involving Jay White. Juice Robinson and Jay White are Bullet Club Elite heels. I think Juice Robinson wins because of interference by Jay White. It's going to be shenanigans, leading it to be Powerhouse Hobbs versus Juice Robinson.
Juice Robinson wins.
Yeah, I think at that point
you got Juice versus CM Punk with Ricky Stark costing Juice. There, is that what you're thinking?
Quite possibly. That's a good option. On the women's side, you have last year's winner, Britt Baker, DMD, versus Ruby Soho. This Friday on Rampage, you've got Anna Jay versus Sky Blue. That's going to be the first match of the tournament. Then you've got Nyla Rose versus Willow Nightingale. And at Forbidden Door, Athena versus Billy Starks. Now that's the one that I think is the most interesting. So, Britt Baker versus Ruby Soho. Ruby Soho is a heel as part of the Outcast. Britt Baker has been in a feud with her. I can see Ruby Soho winning for the same reasons that Juice Robinson won, right? Shenanigans, right? Anna JAS versus Sky Blue. This could go either way. I think if I were booking it, I'd put Sky Blue through. In fact, I would put Sky Blue through to the finals. On the other side, Nyla Rose versus Willow Nightingale. Willow Nightingale is the IWGP Women's Champion right now. I think you book her strong and you have her go through. Athena versus Billy Starks is the one that I'm the most interested in, though. This is going to be at Forbidden Door. Billy Starks has not been announced as an official signee of AEW yet, but reports have it that she has been offered and accepted a contract with AEW. I think this is the match that we find out, or gives us a big clue. If they have Billy Starks beat Athena, the current Ring of Honor Women's Champion, then I think that's a really big sign that Billy Starks has signed a contract, that she's not just on a per appearance deal. And then what I would do is I would put the final Billy Starks versus Sky Blue. Have two of the youngest women's wrestlers on the roster. And literally might be the youngest women on the roster. Sky Blue is 23 years old. And Billy Starks is 18. They may have someone younger than 23, although I don't offhand know who it could be. But they know they don't have anyone younger than 18 on the women's roster.
That's because you can't sign a contract unless you're 18.
Because I'm like, Layla Gray is in her 30s, so it's definitely not her. Layla Hirsch is older, but not that much, 26. So she's close, but not quite. I'm looking at the ones that are like up and comers, to try to see where they land. And um, most of them are in their either upper 20s or early 30s. So yeah, that would be the two youngest female stars. Oh wait, Julia Hart. Julia Hart might
She's
be
got
in
to be
there.
older than that.
She
isn't
is 21. So she is younger uh than Sky Blue, but older than Billy Stark. So she's the second youngest in the women's roster. The men's roster technically has one younger. I say technically because I'm trying to remember his name and it's totally blanking on me right now. Um, they announced that he was signed to a future contract. And that once he turned 18 and graduated high school, he would
have the ability to choose that if he so decided to take that
yeah.
contract.
Well,
actually, Andretti's pretty young too.
He is not as young as Nick Wayne, who graduated high school last week and turns 18 in, I want to say, a week. It might be more than just a week, but it's close. And so Nick Wayne, like I said, was signed to a future contract, and basically they said once you're old enough, you're here. And reports have it that he graduated and he is like ready to sign a contract. Anyways, we're gonna go ahead and wrap things up. I did want to say, I mentioned it last week, kind of in passing, but I do want to highlight an important thing happened last week in Impact Wrestling, and for me, I'm really excited about it, even though I don't actively watch Impact Wrestling as much as I want to. But that is Alex Shelley of the Motor City Machine Guns, my favorite tag team, won the Impact World Championship last week, his first solo world championship in his career. And that at the same point makes me sad that it was his first and makes me happy that he finally won it.
Because Saban had already had one, hadn't he?
Yep, Saban had one. It was just Alex Shelley waiting for one.
And I'll be honest on my behalf. I liked Alex Shelley better.
Mm-hmm. He's if I had to choose, like choosing your favorite child, I would have chosen Alex Shelley over Chris Sabin every day of the week. They're so great as a tag team, but
yeah, I'd rather not off either of them. But
Alex Shelley was my boy. I almost had my bias in that that comes from a different fandom. So he had been the X Division champion. He of course was a 3-time tag champion with Impact Wrestling. But he became the 10th Triple Crown champion in Impact Wrestling history.
It's some good company to keep.
Yep. AJ Styles, Kurt Angle, Samoa Joe, Abyss, Austin Aries, his boy Chris Sabin, Eric Young, Eddie Edwards, Josh Alexander, and Alex Shelley. The only
one of those guys he beat for that title.
no,
Wasn't Josh Alexander the
Josh
former
Alexander
champion?
lost it a while ago. Um, I can't remember who he lost it to. Um,
Christian Cage is not a three-time Triple Crown champion. Then
he is not.
that's crazy.
Oh, that's what it was. Alexander had a triceps tear, so he had to relinquish the title.
Oh, okay.
And Steve Macklin was the current
That's
champion
right.
when Alex Shelley won. Um, but AJ Styles, however, does hold the record uh, because he is the only Penta Crown champion. And I say that meaning he was the NWA World Heavyweight back when
Let's
Impact
say there's
or
only
TNA.
four, man. Where are
Yeah,
we getting the fifth?
back when TNA was part of NWA, so he got that. He was the TNA Impact World Champion, the NWA World Tag Team Championship, the TNA World Tag Championship, and the X Division Champion. He's the only one who got all five. Abyss got four: NWA World, NWA Tag, TNA Tag, and X Division, but never had the NWA World or the TNA World Championship. Excuse me.
Wait a minute. Abyss had an X Division championship?
Abyss, yep, in 2011 had an X Division Championship.
I hate to act like this is ridiculous, but how?
Let's find out.
I thought there were weight limits for X Division.
You know, it doesn't have, as far as I remember, it didn't have a weight limit. The match was typically a match that favored the lighter wrestlers because they often did the championship during an Ultimate X match.
Yeah.
But the X division, which is part of it, let's see. Yeah, they specifically did not call it a cruiserweight championship because they did not want to make it about weight restrictions. They said that this was the division where there were no restraints put on what moves you could do. So, what I'm trying to find is there we go. So, 2011, Abyss beat Kazarian for it. Kazarian had a 127-day reign. And lost on just a regular episode of Impact. But Eric Young also has four of them: the TNA, TNA World, the NWA Tag, the TNA Tag, and the X Division. But he has never been NWA World Champion. And importantly, after like 2006, TNA was no longer associated in any way, shape, or form with NWA, so no one would have that. So AJ Styles will remain the only Penta champion in TNA history. Impact. There is currently only one female Triple Crown winner.
Hold on, I'm gonna guess. I'm gonna say it's Angelina Love. It's not.
It is not.
Gail Kim.
It is not.
Okay.
It is
But
not
it's
either.
not. It's not Angelina Love. Okay, go on.
Nope.
Madison Rain.
Nope.
All right, do tell.
Jordan Grace.
Oh, okay.
Right. She was the Knockout World Champion in 2020, the Knockout Tag Champions in 2021 with Rachel Ellering, and the Digital Media Champion, which is a relatively new secondary title that is not limited to gender. So male and female wrestlers compete for it. The current champion is Joe Hendry, and he's also the longest reigning champion. But Jordan Grace was the inaugural champion. Also the only female champion as of yet. But there have only been 5 champions. Joe Hendry, Jordan Grace, of course, Brian Myers, Rich Swann, and Matt Cardona.
All of those except for Rich Swann, it actually makes sense for them to be the digital media champion. Rich Swann doesn't have a whole lot of... doesn't compare to those others in terms of their online presence.
Agreed. But in a way, the Digital Media Championship really was designed to be kind of a traveling championship. In the fact that, like, Rich Swann's match was actually at an event for Pro Wrestling Revolver.
Gotcha.
But anyways,
I personally think I want to see a feud with Joe Hendry's promos that he cuts on people and Matt Cardona. I want to see who the bigger asshole is. I'm in. I will pay for that. I'm sure they've had one. Don't even go fucking looking it up.
But anyways, on that note, we're going to go ahead and wrap things up here.
Yeah.
Make sure to like, share, and subscribe to the show. We do place the replays on YouTube after a few days. So that's a great way to watch them if you can't make it to the live show. But if you can make it to the live show, that is the best way to do it. Because then you can talk to us and have a lot of fun there. And a great way to do that is by subscribing on Twitch, which you can do if you're an Amazon Prime member for free. No cost to you, but it helps us out a ton. You can also support us by sharing it with your friends, by buying merch like the shirt hanging behind DA Fabe, or all sorts of stuff. We've got 2 different merch shops that you can go to. You can send us bits or you can send us tips. Those are all the ways you can support us. But like I said, sending it to your friends and family and saying, hey, check out this podcast that I recently discovered. I think you would like it, is the best way to support us because it's absolutely free to you. But on that note, make sure to follow me on all of the social media. It is right. Bring my hand up over here. There we go. Right there at Raw and Order WBU. That's on pretty much all of them there. And you can follow DA Fabe at
DA Vincent K. Fabe on Twitter. Just
Twitter, because that's all he do. That's all he do. But on that note, we're going to go ahead and close the book. Thank you all for joining us. We will see you soon.
Bye.